Hello everyone, welcome to Logic Terrain. This is Lakshmi Narayana, your maths teacher. Today we are going to look at a very important question which came in 2019 March public examination mathematics paper 1 Telangana State Board. Let's have a look at the question. Here is the question, that is 16b. Prove that square root 2 plus square root 7 is an irrational number. So we have to prove sum of these two irrational numbers, again an irrational number. For that we have a method, that is indirect method. So what we'll do in indirect method is, see somebody, there is a funny thing in this funny story. For example, there is a person, let us assume some X. He asked how to go some particular place. Okay, one person, and that person said you have to go this direction, and he thought of, why should I listen him, I'll go in opposite direction. And he started moving. Somewhere he ends up in a forest. Then he saw there a snake, a dangerous snake. Then he realized, so he committed a mistake. Then he returned back and he accepted that person who told earlier the direction of his destination. So here also we follow the same way. So what we'll do is, we'll assume the given thing is a rational number which is not irrational. Then we follow some certain process. Somewhere we'll end up with some contradiction. Then we realize that our assumption is wrong, so that the given thing is right, that is irrational number. So let's do that process. So let us assume square root 2 plus square root 7 is not an irrational number. Then what it will be? Square root 2 plus square root 7 will be a rational number. Then we know any rational number can be represented in the form of a fraction, that is p upon q, where q not equals to 0, that is denominator should not be 0. So square root 2 plus square root 7 is equals to p upon q, comma q not equals to 0, where p comma q belongs to z, that is p comma q are some integers, right? Then further, well, squaring on both sides, square root 2 plus square root 7 whole square is equals to p upon q whole square, because here we have square roots, so to remove them, so we have to square on both sides. That is the only option we have, right? So on squaring, it looks like a plus b whole square by using algebraic identity a plus b whole square, a square plus b square plus 2ab. So square root 2 square, this becomes 2, square root 7 square, square and square root gets cancelled, we will get 7 plus 2ab, 2 into square root 2 into square root 7, and we know that square root a into square root b is equals to square root of a into b. Then this becomes square root of 2 into 7, 14 is equals to, here both will be squared, p square upon q square, right? Then 2 plus 7, this is 9 plus 2 square root 14 is equals to p square upon q square. So further, here 9 is adding, if it comes here, subtracts, so 2 square root 14 is equals to p square upon q square minus 9. Further, 2 square root 14 is equals to, so we'll subtract by taking LCM, that is q square. So here p square, because q square gets cancelled one time. So 1 into p square minus here nothing is there. So directly we can multiply 9q square. Then further here 2 is multiplied by square root 14. If it comes here divides, then square root 14 is equals to p square minus 9q square upon, so 2 into q square 2q square. Now we know clearly square root 14 is irrational number. But here since p comma q belongs to integers, then whose square? P square also integer, q square also integer, and q square into again integer into integer divided by again integer minus integer upon integer, again will get integer. That is p square comma 9q square comma 2q square belong to integers and 2q square not equals to 0. Anyhow 2q square not equals to 0. So this whole thing becomes rational. But we got irrational number is equals to rational number, which is clearly contradiction, right? Since irrational is not equals to rational. So why we got this? Because our assumption is wrong, right? Therefore our assumption is wrong that square root 2 plus square root 7 is not an irrational. It is not an irrational is wrong. That is our assumption is wrong. Then so what we can conclude? Then square root 2 plus square root 7 is an irrational number. Hence the proof. Clear? This is it.